Welcome to the deep dive. Tonight we're tackling something a bit different. We're not just discussing an experience, we're actually diving into one, pulling directly from a really unique source.
Right, it's a live recording, isn't it? From inside a location with quite a reputation.
Exactly, a notoriously haunted place. And the source focuses on those real-time reactions, so it feels incredibly immediate, very immersive for you listening.
So just to set the scene for you.
Yeah.
The recording features one person, a host, who went alone into this abandoned mansion, built way back, late 1800s.
And it's got decades of, well, unexplained stories attached to it.
Right, and the key thing here is no electricity, no crew, no staged effects, just the host, a couple of microphones, and whatever else was in there.
It sounds incredibly raw.
It really is. An unfiltered night in a very chilling place. So our mission here for this deep dive is to really unpack this recording. We'll definitely touch on the alleged paranormal stuff, the host reports hearing and feeling. But maybe more importantly, we want to explore the human side of it. You know, the psychology of fear, how perception shifts when you're faced with the unknown.
And the history of the place too, right? That always plays a part.
Absolutely. History gives these places their weight, their context. So the big question for you listening is, what can this very specific raw recording teach us about how we experience fear?
Okay, so let's step inside, based on the recording. The host starts off in the main parlor, and the description is vivid, cracked walls, peeling paint, that faint smell they mentioned, mildew mixed with something like old perfume. It really paints a picture.
It does. That sensory detail is key. Mildew and old perfume. It immediately suggests age, decay, maybe lives lived and gone.
Yeah, and they describe the air itself as feeling heavy, almost oppressive.
Yeah.
You can sort of feel that tension building just from the description in the recording, can't you?
Definitely sets the stage. It primes your mind for something unusual.
So pretty early on, the host starts documenting things. First, a really subtle whisper. Not distinct words, just a sound.
Ambiguous. Which is often how these things start.
Then, moving upstairs, they hit these cold spots. And not just a little chilly, but so cold, their breath actually fogged up.
Wow, okay.
In the middle of July, that detail really jumps out.
That's a significant physical sensation to report. Harder to dismiss than just a feeling.
Then, from a room that was apparently a child's bedroom,
Yes.
two distinct sounds. A loud door creak,
Okay.
followed by what they describe as a scrape-like furniture moving inside the room.
Right, when they're supposed to be totally alone. That's unnerving.
Extremely. And then comes a really jarring moment. The host hears a muffled thud directly behind them.
Ooh.
And you hear it in the recording, their reaction is instant, heart pounding, they say.
Right, and that's where the psychology really comes into focus, isn't it? That immediate physical response.
Is it automatically paranormal? Or is the human reaction the main event here?
Well, that's the fascinating tension, I think. The source itself actually highlights this. The host observes their own body kicking into fight or flight mode. You know, the adrenaline surge, senses suddenly on high alert. It's primal.
So the recording captures that internal experience too.
Exactly. It details how the rational part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, is scrambling for a logical answer, like, oh, was it the house settling? An animal? But at the same time, the amygdala, our sort of ancient threat detector, is just, as the source puts it, lighting up like a warning beacon. It's overriding the logic circuits, essentially.
So it's not just about the thud, it's about how the brain processes the thud in that context.
Precisely. The source talks about how fear hijacks logic, but it's more than that. It sharpens your instincts, maybe narrows your focus onto potential threats, and it makes you believe anything is possible, which is a really interesting observation from the host themselves.
Right.
So, in a place like that, steeped in history, feeling charged, the source leaves you wondering, is the mind playing tricks? Or is it becoming attuned to something subtle? Or maybe both. It doesn't force an answer.
That's a really good point. The ambiguity is part of it. The recording also has this section called Moment Alone. The host just sits in the master bedroom, total silence, just the mics on, for 2 solid minutes.
That takes some nerve, I imagine.
Yeah, and the idea was to just capture the ambience. You know, the wind outside, the house groaning normal old house sounds. But then, even in that quiet, they mention hearing another faint thud, or maybe a whisper. Really subtle.
Which raises the question, right? After all the earlier scares, is their perception just heightened? Are they hearing things because they're expecting to?
Or did the quiet actually allow something else to be heard?
Exactly. It adds another layer to consider for you, the listener. How does expectation shape what we perceive in these moments? And to really understand the weight of these experiences, the source brings in the history. Context is everything.
Right, so this mansion, before it was abandoned and got its reputation.
Yeah, it was home to, I believe the source mentioned, a family of 6. And then later there were stories about a nurse who died tragically there and even a patient who vanished.
Grim stuff.
Definitely. And the source connects this history to what locals claim to experience now, like hearing a child crying, or footsteps, or people talking at night. Phenomenon linked directly to the past.
It makes the sounds feel less random, more purposeful, maybe?
It adds psychological weight, certainly. It gives the shivers a backstory, you know?
And speaking of backstories, the recording shares this really chilling anecdote. 2 ghost hunters visited back in 1987.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently, afterwards, one of them just refused to talk about what happened inside. Completely shut down.
Really? Why?
And all he'd apparently say was that he saw something in the mirror that shouldn't have been there.
Wow, okay, that's the kind of story that sticks with you, especially the refusal to elaborate.
Right. And the host of this recording actually stood in front of that same mirror and noted, specifically, that they didn't see anything unusual, at least not in that moment, which is also interesting.
It is. It keeps things grounded, prevents it from becoming just a collection of spooky tales. It acknowledges the inconsistency, the subjective nature of it all.
So, nearing the end of the recording, the host gives their final thoughts before leaving. They were in there for nearly 4 hours.
It's a long time to be alone in a place like that.
Definitely. And they conclude they couldn't logically explain everything they heard or felt. But the way they frame it is quite profound, isn't it?
It is. They speculate about places holding on to strong emotions, like grief or pain or maybe intense fear.
Like an energy imprint.
Sort of, yeah. That concept of residual energy. They wonder if that energy stays behind, maybe even wants to be heard. It's a common idea in paranormal circles, but hearing it from someone after hours inside gives it a different weight.
It does. But they also clearly state they didn't, see a full-on ghost or anything explicitly supernatural.
Correct. There's no claim of seeing an apparition.
Which makes their final conclusion even more striking. They ask, was this house haunted? And then they end with, something was here with me tonight. And whatever it was, it knew I was listening.
That line really hangs in the air, doesn't it?
It does. It leaves you right on the edge.
Yeah.
Is it a confirmation? Or is it more about the feeling, the overwhelming sense of presence that defied explanation, even if it wasn't visually confirmed?
I think that's precisely the tension the source wants you, the listener, to grapple with. It avoids a simple yes or no. Instead, it really underscores how our environment, the history layered onto it, and our own internal psychological and biological responses can combine. They create an experience that feels completely real, profoundly unsettling, blurring that line between what we perceive and what might objectively be there.
It's a powerful demonstration of how much context and our own minds shape reality.
Absolutely. So thinking about this deep dive, it really pushes us to consider that boundary between perception and reality. How a place's history, its very atmosphere, can amplify our natural psychological reactions to the unknown. That mix, the charged environment, and our own fight or flight can genuinely make us experience things that feel inexplicable, right? It highlights the interplay between the external world and our internal landscape.
So we really invite you to think about this. Have you ever been somewhere that just felt off? An old building, maybe, where a sudden noise made your heart leap. It's fascinating how quickly our minds can try to make sense of things, or how powerfully atmosphere can affect us. What really stood out to you listening to this host's account? How do you think you would react?
It's worth pondering.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up, we'll leave you with the source's own final words, a thought to maybe keep with you for a bit. Stay safe, stay aware, and don't turn off the lights just yet.
Please subscribe to our channel. Your support motivates us to create even more great content for you. Thank you so much.